Hello, this is Paladin Prepper, and I'm addressing today the issue of the kindling box and the size the kindling box is and the amount of room the kindling box takes up in this 24 by 24 inch cage. And so I decided something has to be done, because I'm afraid that this doe, in trying to move around and being in such a confined space due to the kindling box, I'm afraid she's going to accidentally step on one of these baby rabbits. And so I've decided to do something about that. And what I've decided to do about that is go out and buy a rabbit hutch that is larger than what I currently have. Now, what I have, as I said, was a 24 inch by 24 inch cage. And this rabbit hutch here, it's the large, and it's 46.5 long, 24 inches wide, and 36.25 high. And for your information, it's model number 461. Now I want to do a product review. The reason why I'm shooting this video is not so much to show the transfer, but to do a product review, because now I have assembled said rabbit hutch. And I'm going to tell you some pros and cons of this particular unit, and it's better than not. This is all the parts are pretty much pre-assembled. It has pretty simple instructions, and there are pre-drilled holes. The reason why they have the pre-drilled holes is that part of this is plywood, but there are other solid pieces. There are places where the holes that are not pre-drilled, or the places where you need to put screws, they did not pre-drill the solid pieces, so it would be nice and snug when you put that screw in there. Now, one of the things I want to show you is it has a roof. What you do is to open this thing up, and they put a latch on here so that the wind can't catch this thing and take the roof up and damage the roof. Now watch over here. It also has you hear that click? That's a locking arm. And one of the nice things I like about this is that this grating that you have on the cage, and of course you have a nice wide poop tray here. But if their feet get sore from walking around that grating, then they can go through the opening there in this partition and go over to the area where there's a solid flooring. Now, this partition that they put in very smartly was in two pieces. You put in the bottom portion of the partition first, and then the top partition is angled for the pitch of the roof. Here's an example of what I was talking about the pre-drilled holes. When you assemble this thing, they've already put in place an extra piece of plywood here to let you know this is where the elbow latch goes. All right? And so they've pre-drilled these holes because it's plywood. But here, in this area, since this is solid wood here, they did not pre-drill any holes here. And I like that, because now it's screwing in and having a nice solid, a nice snug fit there. Now on the back side, there's also a couple places. In the center of this roof, when you put in the roof portion, there is a dowel about a half an inch long that has already been put in place and rounded on top. So it's very obvious when you put the roof on, the dowel, which is mounted on the top edge of the back portion, is sticking up, so you can seat that. That way you know immediately, you know it's centered and right where it should go. This latch opens here, and here's the solid flooring I was talking about, and there are ridges built in here so that a young rabbit could easily make its way up to the top. Now, one of the other things is the gate that opens the top what they have here is they simply have what I would refer to as floating, a floating top. So you have to, let's see, I don't think I can do both at once. Thank you, Prepper A. So you just lift up those two, and so this just lowers down like so, so you have access, a nice wide access. In fact, this opening is so much larger than the opening on the 24-inch by 24-inch cage. So you remember on the other one, I had to actually take off the front panel of that 24 by 24 cage to even get the kindling box in. So we might as well go ahead and take a look. The opening here is 14.5 inches wide, and we're going to go with approximately, it's about a foot, just under a foot, 11 3/4 tall. Now, a couple things I wanted to mention along the way as well, going back to the partition, is because there's a partition there and because it's so movable, that means you have the option that you could take both the partitions out completely, and if you wanted to have just one large area, you have that option to do that. So that is another good option. Here, Prepper A, you want to give me another hand here and get that, lift up that. All right, thank you. Now, I also want to show you the way this clips. Let's go back to this elbow just for a minute. The way this clips, they have a tang built in here. They have bent this metal so there's a tang, and so what happens is you don't want to push downward on this to close it. What you want to do is give a slight bit of pressure inward, and that will do it. Okay, now, Prepper A, hang on a second. So just a slight bit of pressure. There we go, and it will release like so. Now that we're to the top, let me show you that what this top is made of, which I really like that. It is a shingle type roof. It is one solid piece of shingling is what it is, and so I really like that feature as well. So so what I'm going to tell you about this rabbit hutch is that in terms of assembly, it is for a beginner. Most of it is pre-assembled. The large pieces are, and if you simply do a little comparison as you look at the instructions are fairly well done. And so it's also on sale this week. And I might point out also, I was perfectly willing to build rabbit hutch myself, but you know what? As a prepper, I have a lot to do. There are a lot of things I've got to get done. I've got another chicken tractor that needs to be built, and I've got other things that need to be done, and I didn't have time to fool with it, so I just simply went out and bought one. And by the way, if you live in Missouri, we bought this on sale. It was on sale probably, let's see, it was originally $159. I think it was $136 or something. Anyway, it was on sale at ORSCHELN. So that's something for you to take advantage of.
About $25 off, as I recall.
That's right. Yes, all the hutches at ORSCHELN's are $25 off. Well, that's my product review, and now we're going to put the rabbits in. Now, one of the things that we've done to make things more convenient, not for the rabbits, but for the humans, is we have now placed this Prepper A help me to place the rabbit hutch on these 4 cinder blocks. I had to go through individually and make sure those cinder blocks were nice and secure and level and set as flat as I can make them. Anyway, now we've gone ahead and transferred the rabbits into the new hutch, but there's one thing that we haven't done, and that is I went to the kindling box and took out the driest portions of what was in the kindling box, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that, I've transferred that portion into a plastic bag here, and that dough is very active, so I'm going to just drop this down in there and let her spread it out the way she wants. She can redecorate like any good mom. All right, now this latch. There we go. You have to. You know, this is one of those latches that you have to extend all the way to the top before it'll rotate over. So that's our review, and now we have the rabbits in the new rabbit hutch. Okay, I'm coming back now about 30 minutes after the last video that I've shot, and to see that they have the rabbits have settled into the new cage. There's the doe who's relaxing there, with a lot of room. In fact, we decided that because the rabbits, the younger rabbits, now have their eyes open, that they really didn't need the kindling box anymore. If we just go ahead and put the dry portions from the kindling box in this enclosed area, and you can see back there, I don't know if you can see, but way back there, yeah, they are relaxing and sleeping back in that enclosed area. Now, the reason why I'm shooting this is not about the rabbits. What I want to show you is the modification now that I've made to this new cage. And what I did was I took some snips here, and of course I measured ahead of time, and I went all the way down to the very bottom here, to the very bottom, and snipped that. Of course, as I said, I measured ahead of time to see exactly how many of these I would have to take out in order to accommodate a feeder, because there was no feeder in here. And so I've cut those, I've installed the feeder, and I see that that it was going to work out just perfect. The feeder retainer wires were going to work just perfectly on each side here, so I was able to install the feeder on this model of Hutch. And also there was just enough room. I thought I was going to have to mount the water bottle on the cage door, but once I got this installed and went and got the water bottle, then I saw there was going to be just enough room to install the water bottle, and all it required was that I take some needle nose pliers and open here and here just enough to lift it off, and that just works just perfectly there. So I just wanted to go ahead and pass along the knowledge, the modification, or the knowledge that this modification could be made to this particular rabbit hutch. Now what I'm going to do is, now that they're outdoors, what I'm probably going to do is take something heavy like a 3/4 inch piece of plywood and attach it up here with a hinge, so it will cover, because we've got open feed here, and I don't want it to rain in it or anything like that. So I'm going to put some sort of covering here so that you just lift it up and put the feed in, and so the weight of the door itself will rest nicely on there and keep that feed dry. So that's my my update on the feeder and the water bottle for the new rabbit hutch. You'll recall that when I built the kindling box, I cut out pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. Now what you're seeing here is a lid I've made out of an extra piece of that, a piece of scrap plywood. Now I want to explain to you what I've done here. It looks obvious, but there are some nuances here for you to know about. Now I searched and searched for just the right piece of kind of wire that I wanted to use in here to attach this lid. And I measured the lid, by the way, so it's long enough. I want it to really have some good overhang here, so when it rains, it's not going to get the food wet. The other thing is, I decided to go ahead and use zip ties because it's weather resistant, and it's handy, and it's what I want to use, because I couldn't find the ideal piece of wire that I want to use. And now here comes the train. Anyway, I intentionally did not cinch the zip ties up tight and draw this edge of the board all the way up to this cross member. The reason why is I wanted the weight. The reason why I initially got the 3/4 inch piece of plywood is because of its weight. Because I want it to fit flat on top of that feeder. I don't want there to be any. I don't want it to be up at an angle. I want it to fit flat, so that when you lift this up, and you put feed in there, and you let it back down, it lays almost completely flat on that top. So I'm doing that so that to keep the water out. And I'm sure someone is going to put in comments down below about any sort of treatment that I can use for this wood, for weatherproofing and so forth. That's fine. But at the moment, I just wanted a quick fix. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that's a further modification that I made to this this new rabbit hutch here. Since it's going to be out in the weather, it wasn't going to be indoors, and I wanted to make sure that no rain got in the feed. So that's my further modification. Paladin Prepper.